So here we go, here we go. I might lose some subscribers over this, but y'all be okay. Don't be that emotional. It's gonna be a comparison today between Spot Hogg. This is the Fast Eddie, I wanna say XL, and then this is the Montana Black Gold Pro. So I ended up actually borrowing this from a buddy. I didn't buy it. This is a buddy of mine's because when the V3X came out, this is a little bit of story time. V3X came out, integrate, you know, you can throw a sight in between the riser, everything's awesome. I didn't want to mount my Black Gold to the side because at the time, Black Gold was one of the few that didn't integrate into the riser. So my buddy was like, hey, this is just sitting on the shelf. I'm not using it. You can borrow it for the time being, and then when you're done, just give it back. So I'm gonna give this back to him today, but I figured I'd do a review first. All right. Hey, so I shot this thing for about a week, right? And then I said, you know what? I'm done with it. I went back to the Black Gold. I had it mounting on the side, so then this was useless. I couldn't, basically the reasons why I got the bow, I couldn't really use it for. And I'll tell you why I ended up going Black Gold and why honestly I think it's superior, okay? So first off the bat, this doesn't have first axis adjustment. Not the biggest deal. I mean, you're gonna see it, you could see some issues as you're, you know, as you're dialing up and down or whatever. As you're dialing up and down, if your first axis isn't perfect, if like the rail that this rides up and down is kicked left or right, as you go further and further out, it'll make you shoot further and further to the right or to the left, depending on which way your first axis is set up. So I guess I don't really like the idea of trusting that it's machined properly and perfectly. So whatever, first axis, I was okay. I was willing to deal with that. The second thing that I wasn't the biggest fan of is I don't like that these gears are open like this. And a lot of places where I hunt, especially when I get frustrated sometimes, I'll just be honest with you, when I'm walking through, I get frustrated and things kind of get caught all over my bow. So my bow has to be able to take some abuse where I'm frustrated, gets caught on something, and I kind of pull. I know you guys don't get frustrated like that, like I do, but that's just one of the go no goes for me. So it has to be robust, has to be kind of foolproof, because I'm probably gonna do something that I shouldn't do with my bow. Okay, so those are two things, right? First axis and then these gears exposed. Now it integrated with the riser, but there was a little bit of play in there. So when you snugged it down with the set screw that goes in the riser, you can get it to sit still. It was just always something that was in the back of my head. And then these next two issues, for one, right? You all have seen a lot of you have seen the how to build precision sight tapes. I know it because it's still one of the it's probably still one of the most like consistently viewed videos, and that was probably over a year now when we made that one. But with this sight, you cannot use Archer's Advantage properly, right? So because this is in an arc and they didn't laser any sight markings in here, so their more expensive one, which is probably like another 80, 100 bucks or whatever, it does have those laser marks in there, but this sight that I was using, it did not, so that was a little frustrating. You don't need laser markings on the Montana Black Gold because it's just a flat surface, and they have what's called the basically the inch setting, so I can shoot at 20 with one pin, dial down, shoot at 80 or whatever, and then take my calipers, measure that distance, and input it into Archer's Advantage, and then it'll spit me out a good sight tape. With this, because this is an arc, it doesn't work on that inch scale, and you don't have laser markings. So what you'd have to do is kind of like, it defeats the purpose of having Archer's Advantage, in my opinion. You might as well just use the sight tapes that are gonna come with the package, and I'm really a fan of like trying to get my sight tapes dialed in precisely. So that was another reason. And then the final straw for me was trying to adjust these pins. These pins, they kind of adjust in a arc. So when you're adjusting your vertical, it'll affect your left and right, and that makes zero sense to me. And you can see here, I'll give you an example. So to move these to move these on a vertical plane, say I want to move the pin down, that top pin down. What I'm going to do is loosen this one, and then I'm going to actually turn the top one, and it moves it down. But now, as you see, This is off left and right. So now I would have to adjust my windage. That's annoying to me. And so when you see it now, I tighten it down and it comes back up. So I don't view this as a true micro adjust. Like I get this, I start to mess with these screws and the pins, they start to get a little jumpy. So that was out for me because I want to be able to shoot an arrow, see that I'm low, make a small micro adjustment, shoot another arrow and be right on. I don't want to like have to shoot and then the pin jumps too far as I'm trying to adjust it with this. And it takes what should be a 30-minute process and it makes it like a 2-week process. So at the point when I gave up on this, I still needed to sight in more pins. And so I said, that's a no-go for me. With the Montana Black Gold, if I just like crack the deeper screw just a little bit and then take a few turns off, really my rule of thumb is once this washer is basically loose, then I can literally like 1 click at 20 yards, well 8 clicks at 20 yards is going to move your arrow around an inch depending on your speed, right? So I can literally, if I'm just barely off, I can get my pins dialed in so finely and so perfectly with this micro adjust. Now this is probably on like the $300 to $320 range. This is probably on the $400 range, but I feel like once you're spending, if you've already committed like $250 to $300 on the site, you might as well spend the other 50 to 80 to get something that's really gonna make your life a little bit easier at the range as you go through different arrow setups, as you go through different bows and you're taking your accessories from bow to bow. It's nice to be able to like set it and that process be not frustrating. There's a gang adjustment here. If I loosen all of these up, then I can adjust this and say I just want all of these pins in the housing to be shifted down, and then I move the whole housing up. That way I get more clearance out of my arrows. I can do that super easily. Hey, as always, this is my opinion, right? You can disagree or you can agree. Leave it below in the comments. Hey, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Share the channel, hit the notification bell. If you don't know how to spell it, it's P-R-I-B-I-L-E-G-E-D. I know y'all know how to spell Bowhunter. We love y'all. Peace.